what Power BI is offering, it's the analytics behind the visualization. This is something that other technologies are lacking, and you will get impressed. Okay, I'm gonna show you now. So in case you have joined from Clubhouse, you can go to my LinkedIn profile and see the link to the Zoom event so that you can see my screen, where I will be building a Power BI report in less than an hour and showing you a lot of this technology and the power of that technology. So once you open Power BI, it does have like the Microsoft look and feeling, but it's a totally different application. Okay, it's a BI tool. So let me start and show you the first and most impressive, the proof that this is a tool for analysis. You go to the Home tab and there's a Get Data, and if I click more, it shows you that you can connect to many different data sources. So how many? You can't imagine. So there's no digital. There's no data in any digital format that you cannot connect in this technology, in this tool. And the same technology exists in Excel. So as you see my screen, if you're on Zoom, you can connect to Excel, text, PDF files, databases, Access databases, SQL databases, a whole different of data sources. So even LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, Facebook, Google Analytics, anything. There's nothing that, the only thing that this tool doesn't do is coffee. Okay, and I'm not joking. That's a very powerful tool. Okay, it will change the way you do reporting. So what I'm gonna do, as I show you on my screen, I have annual files, so of transactions, daily transactions for a retail company. Imagine that could be either annual or that could be also daily files or weekly files or monthly files. And you have a report that you want to build where your report is updated on the spot. The first thing is that I have Excel files. So some of these files have like thousands of transactions. Okay. Imagine if you're on Excel and you want to build a report and you have to update it with new data, new transactions. There is a lot of pain with traditional Excel. And now I'll show you how we do it with the new technology, with Power BI and the data analytics power of Power Query. So I'm going to create a folder in my laptop where I say, I'm going to say like sales data. And I'm going to throw into that folder the daily transactions for 3 years, 2013, 2014, and 2015. Okay, and we talk about thousands of rows here. So, okay, maybe I have one file open. So I'm going to close that file and then put it in the folder. So I have 3 files in the folder with the daily transactions, the daily transactions for 3 years. Okay, so I have my files in the folder, and look what I can do with Power BI. I'm going to go again, one more time, go more, Get Data. So the first step when you do analysis and reporting is get the data in, okay? So I'm going to say connect to a folder. So I'm connecting to the folder. I'm creating a live connection to the folder. And I'm going to browse and find my folder. I have it on my desktop. So I'm going to find the folder. It's here. And I'm just pointing to the folder, to the sales data folder, the folder I just created. And I say, okay. So what Power BI is doing, it's actually reading the contents of the folder. And it brings up a page where it says, a window that says, I see the 3 files in the folder. And I have different options here, but the one I'm going to select, it's the one that says combine. And I'm going to open that and say combine and transform. Okay, wait. So can it do that? And that's only the beginning. Yes, it can combine and transform files that you put in the same folder. The only requirement is that the files have the same structure. So if you have a database, an ERP, or any system, and if you have files that you maintain and they have the same structure, you can just throw them in the folder and Power BI will read them and combine them on the spot. And that's just the beginning, because what I'm going to show you in a while, it's going to be like a wow effect, okay? It's crazy. So what it's doing, it's looking into the files in the folder, and it's picking one file in the folder as a benchmark, as a sample file, in order to actually do the transformation, the linking of the data with Power BI. And if I click on the sales tab here on this navigator window, it's going to show me a preview of the data. And here you see our data. So we have all the transactions, daily transactions for Power BI here. And I click OK. And what it's doing in the background, it's combining and transforming the files in one table. And it just did it. So let me switch to the right screen here. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Power Query. That's the biggest development in the world of analytics for the last 10 years. And so you have Power Query in your Excel. If you have Excel 2016 and later, you have it already. You don't need to pay for that. Okay. And it's one of the most powerful tools that exists out there, and it's free. You don't need to pay any license for any tool that in order to do analytics and reporting, because Power Query is free. It's in your laptop. Even if you have Excel 2013 or 2010, you can download Power Query as a free add-in. And let me walk you through of the Power Query interface. Okay. And the first and the most important is that here. That's what when I start learning about Power Query and I saw that, I really was like shocked. Why? Because what I show you on my screen, it's a smart way. Actually, it's this thing down here. So let me properly draw this thing here. So for those of you that have worked with Excel and maybe you have heard about macros, imagine that Power Query has a much smarter and advanced technology to remember whatever steps you do with your data. And it records every transformation of your data. And here on the right of my screen, that the region I highlighted are the steps that it's recording, and it's remembering that. So the next time I'm going to put a new file into the folder, I don't need to do anything. The only thing I need to do is right-click, refresh, and in seconds, no matter how many data you have millions of data coming in, new data, it doesn't matter. It will read the new data, do the necessary transformations, and then you have your data in Power BI, in your report. The report is updated, and I'm going to show you that now. Okay. So, okay, let's see one other element. So there are some more technical and advanced things here. They are not part of this, session. I'm going to show you the power of Power BI, get to know Power BI, what Power BI can do, and Power Query. And there's a lot of material out there. And if you're interested, I would advise go and learn it, go and start using it. So what I just highlighted is a query that has all the data in. And how do I know it? If I go here on the order date and I click load more, it's downloading all the data. And actually it's limiting to 1,000 values, but it has all the data. And I'm going to show you in a while. So if I go here and click load more, you see that it has data from 2013, 2014, and 2015. So the combination was done just with a click of a button. And I can rename that query to just sales. So this is my sales, okay? And I can delete the columns that I don't need. You can play with the data without touching the source data. So this is an instance of the data that is loading in the program, okay? So, okay, let's see. Let's remove the promotion. So how do I remove a column? I just right click and remove it. Or I can go up here and select remove columns, and let's delete the zip date for now. I don't need it. So look what happened. Once I did this right click, remove the column, it recorded the step on the applied step section. So it remembers that I don't want these two columns, the ship date and the promotion key. Another beauty, once I click at every step, I see how the data looked like at each step in the process. So the first step, usually in a query, it's the source, where the data came from. And then different kind of transformations. And Power Query is doing a lot of transformations for us, so we don't need to do write any code. Bear in mind, we are not talking about a tool that is for IT people. IT people can use it, but this is primarily a tool for business professionals, for finance professionals, for accounting professionals, for everyone that is using data. So if you are using data and you're not using this kind of technology, you better do it as soon as possible. Okay? And I'm going to also delete that column here. So you can do all kinds of transformations with your data. And I'm going to show you another way to connect data to Power Query. So if I go and I select new source, I can connect to an SQL server. So I have an SQL server in my laptop installed. You could have an SQL server in your company. So I can connect to an SQL server. So my SQL server has a nice name, which is Lemon Tree. And I can select what kind of connection I do to the SQL server. So I can do, I can connect through an import. So you import the data from the SQL server, or I can do a direct query on the data on the SQL server. So let me do the import. So I'm going to import the data from the SQL server. So I have different databases in my SQL server. So I'm going to connect to this AdventureWorks. And I already have the sales, so I don't need the sales. I'm going to bring the products. So let's bring the products and the product category and subcategory, and also bring customers. So I'm going to bring the customer, and I'm going to bring the territory. I think that's good for now. I'm just clicking OK. So for all of those of you that might have some experience with SQL, it's much easier here. Things are much easier, much more user-friendly. There is a great user interface, and you can do things without writing any code. You just click buttons and you can connect to anything, okay? And you do it only once. That's another beauty. Why only once? Because it has a memory, it remembers. So whatever connections I make, whatever steps and transformations I make to my data, it remembers that. And if new data comes in, daily, weekly, monthly, doesn't matter, and you put it in the folder, or your SQL server updates the data, it's there. You just click refresh and your report updates on the spot in seconds. Okay.